Okay, so it's 2 days to the end of 2020. And before we move into 2021, we would like to look at how to better fund Nigerian universities to prevent incessant strikes. My name is Sylvia Isheme. Welcome to Youth Assembly. I am not alone today. I am with Dr. Kasim Umar, who is the chairperson, Academic Staff Union of Universities, University of Abuja chapter. Welcome, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the last time we had you here, we were talking
Yeah.
about how the strike was lingering. It was almost 9 months old, and now it's like the baby is born, and the strike has been called off. So, how do you
Yeah.
feel about the strike being called off?
Well, all of us are happy the strike is being suspended based on certain conditions. And the main issue is that the student, the family, the lecturer, because we like what we know how to do best, which is teaching. It's quite unfortunate we had that strike. It's something that we don't want to, but the
Mhm.
circumstances lead us to the strike. So we're happy.
All right. They are happy, and I hope students are too. But let's take a look at how it has been so far. For years, stakeholders in the educational sector have made calls for public institutions of higher learning to be better funded in order to provide a conducive environment for students to study and also solve the problem of perennial strikes by the Academic Staff Union of Universities over poor condition of service. How can tertiary institutions in Nigeria be better funded to improve the quality of education in Nigeria? That is one question we intend to answer today. And I am happy that we have Dr. Kasim, who will be in the best position to give us answers to this. So I also have with me Mr. Adekunle Ade, who is a public affairs analyst. Welcome, Mr. Adekunle. Good to have you. All right, while he's still frozen and trying to sort himself out, let's begin with Dr. Kasim. Dr. Kasim, recently the Academic Staff Union, like we said, has called off the strike. With the current economic climate, do you think the federal government has the means to keep to its part of the bargain?
Well, as far as we are concerned, the government may decide, or if they have the will, the political will to keep on the commitment which they put before the table, they can actually do it, despite the economic situation we are in the country. Because there are so many ways which the union have even proposed to the federal government on how to better fund university education in this country.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the history lane, it was the union that suggested 1%, which give birth to this third fund, sort of a thing, which is an intervening fund to most of these universities today. And also, we've equally suggested and proposed to government on the issue of stamp duty and, revenue coming from stamp duty, which already government have started implementing most of these things. Like GSM calls, you are aware, you make a call or any certain percent of money is taken away from you. These are all ways in which we suggested that the government should do and make our university a better learning academic environment for our future leaders who are you. And also, we also propose increased cash cows. Cash cows in this essence, the NNPC revenue from NNPC, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Custom, etc.
Mm-hmm.
That certain percentage can be increased to better fund education on yearly basis. And you are aware that even our agreement earlier was not to pump in money, it carried the total number of money into the university system, but based on yearly basis, on instrumental basis. And that is what we agree. But government went to sleep and never do anything. And at the end of the day, the best thing they know or they react to is when we embark on strike, which is quite unfortunate. So there are other ways. And if you look at if government has to cut excessive, excessive spending on less priority, sectors, things will get better in this country. It's all about the political will of this government.
Okay, with all the suggestions and the proposals that you have mentioned, why do you think Nigeria or the government is yet to get it right in terms of funding the universities?
It is the same thing I've said, the political will.
Okay,
Because
but
if a
this
smaller,
strikes go
yeah,
on every year. Like it has become an annual thing, and
yeah,
different governments have come. Would you still say that it is political will?
yes, because they don't take education serious. And education is the bedrock of any other sector, you know. When you talk of health, you must be educated before you will be able to do whatever you want to do. Education is the bedrock for any development in any nation. But the moment you bring your education to background, devalue your educational system, then you're only waiting for a doomsday. So the issue is the government should have a strong political will. Not necessarily, I'm not even talking particularly on this government, but government, even the predecessors. But if you look at the budget allocation to education, it keeps on declining. But this government is the worst, I must sincerely tell you. Because the previous ones, you see up to 15%, some 15, 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%, 15%. Today, as I'm talking to you, we have less, in fact, except this one they propose, which has a minimum increase to the previous one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Welcome, Doctor Mr. Ade. Good to have you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, for having me. If you can hear
Oh,
me, can you hear me now?
finally, I can hear you loud and
Yes,
clear.
I had to move from my phone to my laptop. Sorry for the delay.
All right. It's okay. So we've been talking about how to better fund Nigerian universities. And in case you're just joining, this is Youth Assembly, and our topic is how to better fund Nigerian universities to prevent incessant strikes. Mr. Ade,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
it's okay. I know you're late, but don't worry, you'll catch up. So,
Sorry,
Mr.
this.
Ade is a public affairs analyst. So, I'd like to ask you some experts have said, insisted that Nigerian universities, higher institutions, will be able to solve the problem of underfunding if students are ready to pay more. That is, in most developed countries, education does not come cheap. So, what's your perspective on this? Should students be made to bear a huge part of the burden of funding universities?
Well, we have no choice. The truth still remains if we want better and good quality education, uninterrupted education in our country, I think the bulk of the burden, let's say 50-50%, should be passed to the student and also onto to the government. You cannot have government paying the entire tuition, accommodation subsidy, and also electricity and the rest that are used in the school. So what I'm trying to say in essence is the fact that if we have if we want to come out from this quagmire of recurrent ASU strike and the rest, there's a need for a 50-50% share between the student or the parent and also the government. And I think that it's a way out. So for experts who are saying that they're on the right path, let's say, for example, the truth still remains, we all know that at the moment, the Nigerian government do not have money to fund some of its projects. All right. And because of that, this recurrent expenditure that comes into some education thing in Nigeria, it means there's a need, all right, for government to pass some of the bulk of the spending to the parents. All right. For instance, according to the Rural Electrification audit of 2017-2019, thereabout, it was made also they made us understand that about um, about 95 Nigerian universities, 35 Nigerian federal universities have actually used over 2,000 and something generators. That is 100 kVA generator. And if you know what it costs to fund and to fuel and actually to do all this maintenance in school, it's quite expensive. So for us to get out of this quagmire of educational spending and the rest, we know government have no money. All right, is for that idea for students should be forced to pay somehow the tuition fee they
But
need to pay.
this, when you look at these strikes, it's been happening for so many years. And so, would you say government didn't have money then, and still now government doesn't have money? And so the students have to bear the brunt of the funding of the education. Where does a free education come or affordable education come in place? Okay, let me hear from Yes, doctor, go ahead.
Well, as far as I am concerned, I don't believe that the student, because if you go back to the basic of education in this country, nobody is saying yes, the country can actually provide free education. But what we are against is this excessive increase transferring of the burden from the government asking students to pay tuition fee. Because the history has it that even some private state universities, where you
Hmm.
can see that some of them pay up to 150,000 naira. Go to those state universities, you can see the facilities, the infrastructure there are provided by third fund, not even from the state government that owns these universities. But you find out that even the same this state university, the government, various state government are using it as a basis of revenue generation to the government, which they don't in turn turn back to where it's supposed to be. So therefore, if you are saying the burden of developing school, providing little infrastructure, which is supposed to be the constitutional mandate of the country,
Okay, whatever happened to Dr. Kasim? But thank God Ade is here. Ade, you can take it from here before he returns.
Although what he's saying, trying to say, is a very simple ideology in the sense that yes, education for all. It's what we are talking about in Nigeria today. Now the question still remains: can government? That's the question that is begged to be asked. Can government fund education in Nigeria? Now let's look at the fact that even when he was making analogy about some state university who has increased tuition to about 100 to 300,000 naira,
hello, are
but the
you there?
truth still remains
Yeah.
the truth still remains yes, there is still poor funding of the facilities within the school. But the
Hmm.
truth, the Nigerian schools somehow are taking too much, all right, that they can actually fund. That is my own take at the moment. And of course, when,
How do you mean? How do you mean they're taking too much study?
okay, let's say for example now, if you look at some schools, there are some courses or some departments where you don't have enough students. There are lecturers, maybe you're looking at taking in about 500 students, but number of people, the number of total number of people who applied for that course might be just 40 or 50. Now, some in that area, what do? You want to close that department down. And I mean, channel your funding to those areas you have more people coming in. Now, you have some schools that are taking out, they are doing undergraduate courses, postgraduate courses, and the rest. Why not prune down some of those schools and say, look, let some of us, if you want to do pure undergraduate, do pure undergraduate course. If you want to do, I mean, some schools can actually do pure postgraduate studies as you. These are means to actually share some excess with in which the Nigerian university system is actually taking in. For instance, we know how much it costs. According to what are we calling it, the uh, the consolidated university academic salary structure, where they recommend professors should earn between a salary scale between 4 to 6 million naira. Four
Hmm.
to six million naira. You are telling me for a school like Unilag, where the tuition fee that is paid is about 15,000 naira as of 2019-18 thereabout. Now, if the tuition fee is paid is 15,000, you're telling me that you need about 267 students, all right, to pay the salary of one lecturer, which is actually not sustainable. All
Mm.
right. So the question still remains: we have our budget. Our budget is I mean, if you look at our budget compared to that of South Africa, it is minimal. It is actually minimal. When you look at the South African budget, I'm just looking at a close country close to us here in Africa. I don't want to compare. South African budget in their national budget generally is about it has about I think a total of about 118 billion dollars. That's their budget, and of which out of 118 billion dollars, we have about 19 billion dollars for educational purposes. Now, what is our own budget
So
here in
where
Nigeria? Let's
education
compare.
is funded here in Nigeria, is it a problem, or how best can, at this point, how best can it be funded, or how best can the government include the budget or the educational budget into the budget of the nation annually to better fund the system? Let me hear from Doctor now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, before I go straight to your question, yes,
Hmm.
there's one thing my colleague have said there. Proliferation of Nigerian university, our union is totally against it. Because you find out that it's still the same elite that want to make creation, establishment of university as a constitutional project. Uh, 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 this their, what do they call it? their constituent project from wherever each senator comes from. You want federal university to be established there. And at the end of the day, you're draining even the purse of government. What we are saying, the little university you have, why not concentrate on this university, better fund this university, expand all the faculties to cover up whatever the department and the faculty you seek to establish in other universities, like railway. I'm just giving you an example, like railway
Okay.
university.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? We have universities that are pure science-based universities. What is wrong for them to open this university that
Yes.
will now expand their faculty, their college, to include these various courses? There's nothing wrong with that. Then for us to come to the issue of budgeting, is all the same. Let me tell you one thing today. Like in University of Abuja, for the past 5 years, for the past 5 to 10 years, I mean, capital project is 7 million naira. Can 7 million naira give me a two-bedroom flat? A university
Hmm.
that you are expected that to develop, put infrastructure, put facilities in the lab, increase, in fact, and the growing population, the demand for university education in Nigeria today keep on increasing. Well, as my colleague in the studio have also said, I don't think there's any department in Nigerian public university where you have 40 students. I don't think so. There's no course, no
40,
course. 40
40
students,
students.
just 40
Is that
students,
the
yeah, in a
ideal? Is that
department.
ideal? The
No,
ideal number should be
what I'm
in
saying, I say there is none. There is none.
hmm.
So there is no single department in federal or public universities in Nigeria that will see nothing less than 40 students.
Okay. Before we go get back to him, or before he comes back here, we have some comments already. We put out a question: should students in Nigerian universities be made to pay more to improve the quality of education? We need your comments. In case you were just tuning in, we're here for your comments or your questions. We have here Adekunle Ade, who is a public affairs analyst, and of course, Dr. Kasim Umar, the chairperson,
200, over
Academic
200.
Staff
In a
Union of Universities, University of Abuja chapter. And our comments from our
sense to
listeners,
the needs
Benjamin Atta.
assessment conducted. Needs
Hold on.
assessment conducted
Okay, hold on,
2013.
Doctor.
You see
Yes,
the
hold
true
on,
picture of
Doctor.
Nigerian system.
All right, we couldn't hear you for a long time, but we'll get back to
Oh,
you. So one of the comments we have here is from Benjamin Atta, who said, no, even if they pay more, it will not improve. This is asking, should students be allowed to bear the brunt of funding universities? And then James Garuba says, no, governments need to put some modalities in place to enhance quality education and implementation of all MOUs signed with ASU and their non-academic staff counterparts to avert frequent industrial action. And in Young, Udo says, were they paying less before? Oh my goodness, that is a question we should ponder on. But thank you so much for your comments. We need more comments or questions, and we will provide answers. Mr. Adekule, which one would you react to from the comments that I have read? Were they paying less before, students?
The truth is, there is always a subsidy on tuition in Nigeria. I give you an instance. As of last year, the student of Unilag pays 15,000 naira as tuition. Obafemi
You're still
Awolowo
paying
University,
15,000.
yes, as of last year. Then you're paying tuition. If you look at Obafemi Awolowo University, they pay 30,000 naira tuition. Now
Okay.
compare to how you ask yourself, how is private university being funded, and you have smooth education and without any obstruction. Example, you have the likes. If you look at even in Nigerian education, thank God we have a private university who is funded by a private person who is ranked at least in top 1,000 university in the world, and that's Covenant University. Now, sometimes like you look at them and relate them to, okay, I think Afebola, I know that one. Afebola University pays a tuition of about 800,000 to about 1.4 million naira. That's their tuition. You can see the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the truth still remains, and I gave you the salary of one professor. You understand? Now, if a student who pays 15,000 naira, how many students will it take to pay one professor his money when you look at the cumulative salary structure of universities?
Mm-hmm.
All right. An average professor will take home between 4 to 6 million naira.
ah,
That You look at.
Dr. Kasim seems not to agree with you. Is
No,
that
I'm
the
just
amount
trying to
of
break.
people?
No, I'm trying to break down something. We're going somewhere. We need to understand and identify the elephants in the room.
What is the
I'll say,
salary structure of Nigeria?
sorry, can I
Okay,
continue?
it's posted again. Go ahead.
Now I'm giving you some expenses some university pays. I mean, some expenses you see Nigerian university take on. All right,
And
37 federal
professor now.
universities. All right,
Okay, how
we're
much?
using
Hello,
about
hello.
1,668 generators. All right. Now, if you look at each of them, about 28 generators with per university, and all of them with 100 kVA generators, and cumulatively, the university will spend over like 3 million naira a month for diesel alone. All right. Now it will take a student who is paying 15,000 naira or 30,000. Or it will take about 200 students paying 50,000 naira tuition to cover that cost of diesel monthly. Now the question is it sustainable? That's the question. Is it sustainable if we have lower tuition? What we are saying is simple. To avert some of these excesses we have, or strike we have, or the issue of allowance for government to do, I'm not saying total tuition payment. Government and the parent or the student, they should meet halfway. Halfway in the sense that you must cover something. All right, we
All
cover
right.
the.
All right. From
So
your
if you
perspective,
Please,
50-50
please.
would do it. But doctor, let me hear from you
Yes,
now.
please. I think I don't know where my colleagues is getting all these statistics from. Please let me. You say because we are online, so many people are listening to us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the salary of a professor in the university? I that I'm talking to you, I'm an associate professor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just one rank to a professor. Currently, my salary stand at my take-home pay as net is 314,000. A senior professor at 7, Conua 7, Pep 10, that is bar, is taking 420,000 naira. For God's sake. What
Is
is
it
the 6 million?
annually or
No,
monthly?
monthly, multiply it by 12. It's
my
not up to
calculation
what
is for
my.
annual. My calculation is for annual take home pay per annum. Per annum. That's my calculation, and that's what I
No, no,
calculate is
wait,
not
wait,
per
wait.
month.
If my work is sustainable, just wait. Multiply this. If actually we give you what we are saying. Now, let me leave the issue of the salary structure aside. Now, you are quoting Unilag as paying tuition of 15,000 naira. In fact, if we take the aggregate of a student, what he pays in Unilag is 70,000 naira. Government is coming from other ends of not because we went against the issue of excessive tuition fee. They came in through another means of students paying acceptance fee for admission 40,000, 30,000. Please, you can ask. There's no single public university today that they pay 20,000 naira as the sum money paid by a student. Nothing less than between 60, 70, no lower than 50,000 naira. And where are these students from? There are students that is also selling pure water on the street to get university education. Most of these people you are saying they are in private universities, go and check out, find out. No single civil servant who is taking the legitimate salary as it is will take his child to private university. So what are we saying? What is the total number of students in all public universities? And no single state university. In fact, it goes to a point that you are within Nigeria, there is discrimination. If you are not from a particular state, you pay higher than other states because you are receiving university education from that state.
We
The
see that
truth of the matter is, hello?
that is happening in universities.
Yes, it's state university. For
Hmm.
instance, if I'm not from Kogi State and I'm giving admission to read any course in Kogi State University, I'm from other state university, I will not be paying the same amount of money compared to those and indigenous.
Hmm.
It is done. It's only in Kaduna State. And quote me anywhere. I'm not from Kaduna State. It's only in Kaduna State they pay uniform money. They don't discriminate.
Oh, well,
So what we are saying here is that the
find out
government.
more of that. But Dr. Kasim, people are
Yeah.
also of the opinion that privatization is a solution to funding
In
public
fact, I don't
universities.
want to. I don't want to use rough language. I don't want to use rough language on those individuals. It's their personal opinion. but we will never allow privatization of public universities in
In your
Nigeria.
opinion, then,
Let me tell you,
what's the best
wait,
solution?
the best solution, government should stop proliferating, creating more universities. First, the university, as I'm talking to you, we have over 92 public universities in Nigeria. How many universities does Ghana have? I know we cannot compare the population of Ghana to Nigeria, but how can this country have over 93 public universities, which we cannot better manage it? We are now saying stop proliferating universities. Some state universities today have 2 universities, including federal, 3. Look at the saga in Oyo State, Lautech, being owned by Oyo, being owned by Osun State. It was a tug of war between our union for someone to hold to his responsibility. How many states did Oyo has? UI is there. They created another science university. So what we are saying is that government, the elite in this country, have to come to round table, decide they must fund university education and stop proliferating public universities. Nobody is saying that education at the university level should be free. No, but at a point, you look at vis-a-vis with the economy situation in the country, side by side with whatever you want to increase.
Hmm. Okay, you're saying the elites in the country should come
Yeah,
together and
yes.
find a solution. Are we not saying the same thing about privatization? But let's hear
No,
from.
no, no. Privatization, look, please, go to developed countries, which
Mhm.
they should mention one country to me, public education, where is privatized. I can stand to be corrected. Get me one developed world which have come point blank and privatizing my educational sector.
So what are the
The way,
elites going to be doing exactly? Is if they put in their money and they don't get to own it,
look,
how best will it work for them?
look, let's take for instance the issue of hostels.
Okay.
Private individual have come in to build an hostel side by side with the one government has produced. They are not paying the same amount of money.
Okay.
But what we are saying, nobody is saying that is wrong, because in accommodation you're coming in, but you establish this university saying that I am going to fund this university, provide the necessary equipment in the lab, provide classrooms for these people to study. But look, check out classrooms in various universities today. Lecturers are, in fact, students are learning by rumor.
Mm.
One is standing by the window asking another one, what is he saying? He's not even saying the person passing the knowledge.
Well, I witnessed that during my days in the university.
So what we are saying is that let government take it on the basis of within social period of years. This is what I'm going to be committing into this university system. And these are the things we are saying. You
Okay.
have numerous agreements with ASU that
Okay.
this is what we want to do. In fact, you rejected it, you accepted, signed a document. At the end of the day, you're saying no, you're not to do it. After all these people propagating privatization of public universities today, they enjoying free education in this country.
Okay. The comments from Casey and Inyedom. I hope I pronounced that name right. Casey says no student should be made to pay more. And Inyedom Q Ufot says, can the number of universities, public and private, match the population of undergraduate age students? That is the question she is asking. Well, Mr. Adekunle, what do you think about this privatization issue?
You can't privatize
Is it the
knowledge.
best option?
It's not the best option. It's never the
Okay.
best option in any way. But the truth still remains, we clamor that we want better education, better funding. I think the question today was how best we can, what's the best way to fund universities in
Yes.
Nigeria, not just university, tertiary institutions in Nigeria. And the question still remains. It looks at, if you look at government from day one, they are not determined to solve this issue for once. There's no political
Thank you
willpower
very
from
much.
government.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's no political willpower from government. Of
That's
course,
an agreement for.
there are areas where we have excesses in government spending that those funds can be diverted into education. For instance, you say remove them subsidies in petroleum. Part of that subsidies from petroleum can be diverted into the funding of education. And of course, we have a very docile civil service, civil servants area. That you can look at some areas or some duplication of government, government offices, that you can actually match them to one and divert that funding for those people to the universities. So these are areas where you can see government coming in. Government has the willpower to actually fund our education. For once in the history of Nigeria, I don't think we really have met the UNESCO standard for budgeting in terms of how much percentage of your budget you should be giving to education. We've not done that in the history of Nigeria. We've seen below 10%, 5% of our budget to education. So funding of education in Nigeria has been actually poor. And of course, when you say you want to privatize, it means it's only, like I explained, how the private universities get their money. About 800 to 1.75 million naira in an average Nigerian university. How many Nigerians can actually meet that thing? All right, meet that tuition and the rest. So it's not going to be possible. It means if you privatize Nigerian university, the poorest of the poor will never get to go to school, and we're going to increase the literacy gap in Nigeria. So it's not a good idea. But of course, government can come in on a tactical way to actually fund education, because we have a lot of excesses in government, and that's why I think ASU has been so obstinate with government to tell them this is how you must fund and you must meet our demand, because they've seen the excesses that are being the excesses in spending and expenditure by the government of the day that can easily be diverted into education if we actually want to prioritize education in this country. So it's not a good idea to privatize.
Okay, fair enough. But in an attempt to address some of the issues surrounding funding of universities, the government has set up institutions like TED Fund to help carry out the interventions in Nigerian universities. So, how do you think such initiatives have fared in addressing some of the challenges faced by Nigerian students? Dr. Kasim, this question is for you.
TED Fund, I have told you,
Yes, TED Fund.
TED Fund is the baby of the union. You are aware we embark on 6 months strike before government agree to even establish what we are referring to TED Fund today. And TED Fund today is the even only source of even funding university system. I've just given you an example. Capital project, 7 million naira to a federal university. What does it? What do you think such university can do with 7 million naira? Now, TED Fund is an intervening, just like what you said. It is not a source of funding. The government today have completely abrogated that their side funding and limit it to TED Fund. And what we are saying is that we agree with them. Even the law that established TED Fund is intervening where issues becomes necessary. They come in, and you are aware again. The same elite have been fighting our union to change even the act that established TED Fund to include private university. The owner of this university, TED Fund, will start funding them. Now, you ask yourself, that is why I completely agree with what my colleague just said. If they have the political will to do the needful, I am assuring you there is not going to be any strike in this country. Going fund the university, you have an agreement that consistently you sign with the unions in the university. After suspension of the strike, you abandon it. And we are actually in the system seeing what is happening. The same elite will come up again, they will start condemning your product. That no, graduates, the Nigerian graduates are not employable. Because they've consistently want a situation to degrade the public universities in this country. So if there's political will, just like what he has said, I've told you, we propose so many areas for them to have more funds for the university system.
Now, ASU has said that it went back on another strike if the government does not meet the agreement reached.
You see,
how do you think what is the best way to avert any other strike?
You see, ASU does not always want strike. We will wait until if they refuse to honor the agreement signed. Then
what time are we looking at? What's the time
frame?
No.
When we get there, when we get to the bridge, you know how to cross it. The issue is that agreement has been signed. We are happy suspending the strike based on the condition in which it is stipulated in the agreement. So we will wait and see, because ASUU does not only just wake up one day and say we're embarking on strike. It's not done that way. You will see before we embark on this strike on 23rd of March. In fact, there was warning strike. In fact, serious letters were communicated, engagement for more than 10 times with the government over 1 year before this strike was embarked. So the point is, they have the agreement on their table. It was signed by them, signed by our representatives, and the Nigerians have seen. So it is left for Nigerians, both parents, religious leaders, traditional rulers, media houses, to keep on reminding the government of this agreement.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Kasim. I hope you don't go on that strike anymore. Students need to graduate and move on to something else in life. But before we go, Dr. Ade, I would like you to touch on this issue, the issue of student loans, like it's so obtainable in the U.S., where students get to get student loans to sustain them during their undergraduate years. But should Nigeria go that route? And how can a similar situation be avoided, or is it unavoidable?
So if government goes to that route, it means tuition will be 100% responsibility of the student. And in just to give a kind of a good way out for these children, I go to loan, go and collect loan, and of course it's not sustainable. Even the American system, where the loan system is being practiced, you realize that people after graduation struggle to pay off their student loan. Sometimes they are indebted for years. They want to start up their career. It takes them 10 to 5, 15 years to start up their career, because the first 10 years of their life after working, they are paying loans. They are paying loans. They are paying loans. And of course, those loans go with interest, and interest is increasing. Given our country where we have the inflation rate going at an alarming rate sometimes, and the dollar to exchange rate is high. You understand? So it's not a good way to go. It's not. It's never, and it will not. It shouldn't be advised that, okay, yes, government is taking lands off tuition, and you can go to have set up an educational university. I mean, educational bank, or you can go get a loan. It's not going to work. Enslave. You're going to enslave a lot of Nigerian youth for not less than 5 to 10 years before they can actually find their bearing in life, because they use the next 5 to 10 years paying loans, and those loans come with some kind of interest that they want to pay up with. So this will not go. The other better route we just said, if government has commitment, we can squeeze out money out from our budget to fund education. If we take education seriously, we can do that. Like Doc has said, I go to his line. Instead of creating so many universities, why not collapse all into one university and put a better funding to that one university that we have? We can't. It's not a must. You must have other one. Of course, we talk about the polytechnics and then other institution that they can go to. But instead of creating so many, we can actually narrow down. And of course, what we can actually do again is, if we can also build the image of our universities and the alumni and the rest, of course, a little we could get from there. We can get grants and donations from the alumni, and also from the brand, the image, the brand of the brand, which is the university, to fund some of the universities' education. Now, of course, I look at one thing that I saw in the American system that I know we can actually borrow a little, is to use the college athletic system. That the university athletic system can be, a fund, a means to bring revenue to the university. If, for instance, you look at the American college, or colleges and universities, they have, strong basketball leagues, strong football leagues, strong these American football leagues they have, and people pay tickets to watch them play. People pay for parking tickets. People pay for all this, and they generate funds that goes into some of these their universities, and also to help in the building of facilities for their students. In fact, just in 2016, about 4 universities actually raised about $1.2 billion from college sports. All right, so we can have that done here in Nigeria as a means, where the university can actually find a way to actually sell something and gain something back. Also, even the student also, that's where you see the American system, they give scholarship, a sports scholarship for students to go play, because they know they'll make money off that student at the long run. So we can have that introduced. And of course, I want to challenge our university system also in terms of research. They can do research and come up with patents that they are paid every year. A particular department can be getting, a right for a particular usage or formula that has been created by the school or something to fund some activities in the school. So we can use that instead of going for the loan or privatization. Those two are devil's idea. You can't actually introduce that into educational system. It will kill it completely.
All right. According to Mr. Ade, no student loans, no privatization. And Dr. Kasim, any final words before we go?
I agree with the last the speaker there, because the issue is that student loan is not the this is not the first time in Nigeria. Some time ago it was introduced, it failed. In fact, it won bankruptcy. And again, if you see the idea mooted by Professor Babalaki, because he's one that brought that idea into the negotiation table with the union, and they said 1 million naira per student, 700,000 naira to be given to be paid by the students to the university as just a tuition fee. Then 300,000 to be given to the students to sustain. Then you ask yourself question: 300,000, can it sustain an average student within 4 years? The answer is no. And two, these poor ones will not even get the loan. And again, you are just selling their future. How many graduates of of Nigerian universities go out daily and they got a job? You see somebody have graduated over 10, 15
Hmm. Okay.
years
It
ago, is
happened
still on the
again.
street.
Mhm.
As far as I am concerned, loan is even out of it. The only way we can do is to have this political will, block areas that
All right, having the political will by our government will go a long way
we have excesses,
in ending
monitor, sorry, and at the
by
same time,
us.
monitor whatever comes to the university. And our union is committed to work with government in this regard.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kasim,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
doing this with us today. It's been a pleasure having you once again on
yeah.
Youth Assembly. Dr.
Thank
Kasim
you
is
very
the
much.
Chairperson Academic Staff Union of Universities, University of Abuja chapter, and also Mr. Adekunle Ade, a public affairs analyst. Thank you for all of the options that you have suggested that the government can take in funding universities. I hope you have a fantastic day, gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of 2020. See you in 2021.
Thank
Yes,
you.
hope.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you
And
very much.
yes,
Thank you, my colleagues. Thank you very
yes.
Thank you
much.
very much, sir.
You actually landed well. Thank you.
He didn't
Thank you.
start well, but he landed well.
No, no, sometimes the fact can be praised sometimes, but we just use that as a
Thank you
ground.
very much. Yeah, you're
Uh,
welcome.
Thank you
Yeah.
Okay,
very much.
thank you, Benjamin Atta, James
Uh,
Garuba, Young
mm,
Odo, KC,
mm,
and Inyadom Ufot for your comments. And to all of you who joined us today, thank you. Please share this video and keep
yeah,
commenting until somebody up there sees this and take the appropriate action. We'll see you tomorrow on
yeah,
another edition of Youth Assembly. Uyoma
yeah.
UKJ put together this package. Bye for now
Thank you.
and enjoy the rest
Thank
of
Thank you
your
you.
day.
very much.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mm.